This week, we're going to answer a simple question. What is a permaculture orchard? Find out. Stay tuned. You may have heard many terms relating permaculture orchard, food forest, forest garden. Aren't they all the same?
No.
Well, no. I want to clarify today what is a permaculture orchard. Let me start by saying, you want to find out what a food forest is? Go see Jeff Lawton's great video called What is a Food Forest? Start there and you'll get a better understanding of what he means by a food forest, and I agree. If you want the deep dive version of what is a permaculture orchard, check out the film, The Permaculture Orchard Beyond Organic. It gives you the techniques, the details, the concepts. It gives you everything to start your own. But you really just want to answer, what is a permaculture orchard? Let me start by saying what it's not. And what it's not goes back in the process of how I came to this point with the permaculture orchard. I started with a monoculture, in fact conventional monoculture 4,000 tree apple orchard. Started right away a conversion to organic. Takes 3 years to do the transition, certified organic for many years. One of the things I realized is that a conventional or an organic monoculture orchard doesn't work. You say, well, there's all kinds in the world. Yes, they work with a huge amount of inputs. To me, they don't work as an ecosystem. There's a whole bunch of components or parts to that ecosystem that are missing. And I noticed that even though I tried. So you think, well, wait a minute, and let me give a great quote. Uncle Bill, fondly known as Bill Mollison, or let me say Bill Mollison, fondly I call him Uncle Bill. He said, if you are ever so unlucky as to inherit a monoculture orchard.
Run, Forrest, run!
And he knew it, and I know it. That's not a great blessing. In fact, you're going to inherit a lot of work. So he knew, and I can tell you that an orchard, although we think of an orchard, the image you have of an orchard is a monoculture. That's the image we have. We need to transition or relearn that image to be biodiverse, to be a diversity of things. Let's see what a permaculture orchard is not. Here's a remnant of our organic apple orchard, monoculture. Please don't take a monoculture orchard and say, oh, I've got this permaculture orchard. It's not. It's a monoculture orchard, or it's an apple orchard, or a pear orchard, or whatever fruit you're talking about. That's what it is. Don't say, oh, look, I put a few shrubs in here, and now it's a permaculture orchard. It's still going to be the very skeleton of your orchard will be the trees, because that's the backbone of an orchard is trees. And if your trees are all the same thing, please don't say that's a permaculture orchard, even though you have a bit more diversity. I tried everything I could in this orchard years ago, over 20 years ago, over 25 years ago, to try to make this diverse. I let grass grow. I had 100 sheep in this orchard at one point to graze it. And if you are ever so unlucky as to have a monoculture orchard, get some sheep. If there's one thing that worked well as an organic orchard, it was having enough sheep to graze this place and gather the drops really well. They do that extremely well. That was great results, but it still was too simplified. We had trees, we had sheep, and we had grass. Even though the grass was several species and you have a polyculture in the pasture, that's good, but your skeleton is still bare bones. It's still just the same crop of trees. So you need to go to a polyculture, a diverse planting of trees, and that's what we'll see next. One of the big distinctions between a food forest and a permaculture orchard is the height of the canopy. If you look at Jeff's video, he'll show you want a canopy that is much taller than what I look to have. I don't want a very high canopy. And what's a canopy? It's basically where most of your leaves are in the tree. So we want trees that are smaller. We want a canopy that's lower because we want a harvest that is more accessible from the ground. And we want to be able to pick it in a way that's a lot easier. So when you get the canopy, and this one, nitrogen fixer, whether it's our fruit trees, we want this to be lower down. We've been pruning. Last week we pruned these honey locusts. We want to get the canopy back down lower. So our canopy height, in our climate, we're looking not much more than 5 to 7 meters. 7 is a lot. 5 meters, 15 feet around that. We want that to be basically the tops of our trees. We don't want them getting much higher. In a food forest, you can have a canopy at 100 feet. You can have a canopy at 70 feet or less than that. But you'll often let your trees grow much, much taller. So canopy height is an important consideration. The amount of light you have available is an important criteria. Food forests work really well in light, unlimited environments. You got a lot of light. In fact, you can have too much light for some of the crops, and you want shade from the canopy. This row here behind me is more like a food forest. It creates, because we have unpruned honey locusts, which are the tallest canopy species here, and they're casting a shade. See, it's dappled or it's full shade depending where you are. As opposed to this row right over here where we have pruned the honey locust, and now you have not full light, but right now it is full light. So the amount of light is really important. In temperate or in tropical or subtropical environments, you are in a light, unlimited environment. That's not your limit. You got lots of light. There, a food forest works really, really well because you have all these layers of trees, first of all. Tall trees, medium trees, small trees, and then you get into your shrubs. So you've got many more layers, and that works really well. In a temperate climate, we're at 45 degrees latitude north here. We are in a light limited environment. Light is an important determinant, how well the trees grow. If the trees, and what we use is our lowest branches, we'll look at the crop set. So if we see, hey, this is pretty good. Look, we got some apples here happening. I know that this tree has had enough light because the lower branches, and here's another one, crop coming nicely. These low branches, and this is actually the north side, west being right behind you. This is the north side of the tree, and these low branches have a good load of fruit. I judge if the trees have enough light by the crop at the lowest branches. If I look at a branch and I see, ooh, there's nothing much happening, then that means that above this tree, there's too much shade. Perhaps it's the trees on each side are too tall And so that's my judge as to when I start to have to prune the upper trees. So light limited or light unlimited. Remember, what climate are you in? Tropics, subtropics, or temperate? Big difference as to which strategy or which type you will grow, whether it's a food forest or a permaculture orchard. Permaculture orchard tends to grow really well in the light, limited environments. Keep that in mind. Two of the main distinctions why this is a permaculture orchard: trios and grocery store concept. Maybe you've heard about those. Let me just summarize. Trios is solving the problems of what I had as an organic apple orchard right from the start. We actually tore out the orchard and replanted because it wasn't working well enough. Now, with the trios, which is nitrogen fixer fruit or nitrogen fixer fruit nut, that has greatly solved all the problems at the core. Then there's other crops underneath, but that idea of trio has revolutionized literally the orchard environment and experience. That's one. The second one is the logic of an orchard. Makes so much sense. You have access. Your rows are planted with all the same thing. You think that, well, that's not good. I was saying it's not good. That isn't good because it's a monoculture. But what is good is planting the rows all with the same harvest date. That becomes the grocery store concept. And that is good. I love that because we can send people through these rows on the appropriate date. These rows are early October, and they'll be harvesting whatever is in these trees on that date or in that 10-day window. So those two ideas, trios and grocery store concept, you want to find out more, listen, go check out the virtual tour. You think, oh, this is neat, I like this. Go see it, explain it to you for over 2 hours so you'll know and understand not just how it works, but tricks and tips of how we tweaked it over the years. And so check out that virtual tour. You won't regret taking a tour. And please don't come here from hours and hours away. I don't want to see you come here for a tour if you're traveling far. Take the virtual tour and don't travel this far to get here. So hope this summary, comparison, food forest, permaculture orchard, and answering that question of what is a permaculture orchard. Go see Jeff's video, What is a Food Forest? And then compare the two and judge for yourself based on what environment you're in, which one is most appropriate to your situation. Hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hey, please subscribe and check out our latest video. So, oh no, let's do it this week.